bit under the weather, guys, but hopefully I can, I'm going to turn on the light out here real quick. Let me just make sure it's not going to be directly in your guys' face. Where the fuck is my light not working? Alright, so... so this will... Why is my... Never mind. Sorry about that. So this is my, like, most snubbed player ratings. What this means is I'm going to go through this list of each position and say who I think was snubbed in terms of rating, who should have been rated higher, and I think what I might do is also do one for who I think should have been rated lower. So most snubbed and most overrated at each position. Most snubbed, I'm also like going to be half off screen just because of how my camera and phone and all that are set up. I honestly think the player who was the most snubbed for sure in these rankings is, honestly, Cortland Sutton might be a good case for a snubbed player. He was, I think he's had a 1,000-yard season the last 2 years, I think, and that's with subpar quarterbacks throwing to him for the most part. So I definitely believe he is the most snubbed out of all the wide receivers right now. And most overrated, I think I have to go to the first page for this one. I think, honestly, out of these guys, I am a bit biased with this one. But I honestly, actually no, I'm not biased because he's not even on my team. AJ Green has to be the most, no, I'm sorry, it's overrated player. He's about where he should be. I think Julian Edelman might be a bit overrated in my opinion. He's older, he's still reliable, sure, but I do think him being over like T.Y. Hilton in itself, I think, is a bit of a overrated type deal. But other than that, I mean, you can make a case that I guess Cooper Kupp might be a little bit overrated. Same with Allen Robinson, I guess. So that's it for that. Let's move on to the next position, which will be tight end. The most snubbed player at tight end is probably going to be a tough one to deal with. I'm going to be walking basically around my entire house here, or my entire area here. So, tight end wise, the most underrated, honestly, the most underrated has to be, Zach Ertz. I mean, he's been a great player for the Eagles. I think he should be 95, and then that goes right along with overrated, which is Rob Gronkowski, who's 95. He missed football for a year, yet he's still ranked as the third best tight end in the league. No, that's BS, and everyone here knows it. I think Zach Ertz should be where Rob is, and I think Rob should be maybe at somewhere between where Olsen and Evan Ingram are, if I'm being super honest. Okay, strong safety. I'm just going from bottom to top, so, Harrison Smith, I believe, is definitely the most overrated out of everybody. Potentially. I think Derwin James should be a 92, so in that regard, I think he is a bit snubbed, but not as snubbed as other people might be. Honestly, I don't see him up here, but, oh no, Justin Simmons is free safety. This one's actually a bit... Okay, I think Keanu Neal is definitely underrated. When healthy, he's definitely one of the best strong safeties in my opinion. And I think the strong safety for the Broncos might be a little bit overrated as opposed to his free safety counterpart, who's underrated. I don't have reasons for all of them, besides just knowing how they play, basically. Right tackles don't matter. I'm gonna say Johnson is underrated, and Swartz might be a little bit overrated. I mean, they're linemen, so nobody really pays too much attention to those. Right outside linebacker, I might have some stuff to say about depending on who's on this list. Actually, Bradley Chubb was definitely snubbed in the ratings here, and since he's been snubbed, I'm gonna say Preston Smith might be a little bit overrated, just because he did play well last year as a compliment to the other Smith on the team. But I definitely don't think he was good enough to be the second or third best, the third best right outside linebacker in the league. I'm actually gonna skip linemen because there could be cases made for every single position. So let's go with right end. No, damn it, I wanted to have right end. Okay, so snubbed, I think, Yana Ngakwe is definitely in the snub category. He plays very well. I mean, he's not like a big sack producer, but he definitely helps a lot with run stuffing and all that type of junk. I mean, I guess the Jaguars' defense is kind of underrated because they did absolutely nothing last year, so it's kind of understandable. But at the same time, he should be like an 85. He was a little bit snubbed, and I think Bosa might have been snubbed a little bit too. And I think Sue is a little bit overrated. He hasn't really done shit in like 2 years, and yet it's still an 86. I think that's a little bit of an overrated position there. For those who are watching this, who are planning on playing CFM, this is why I'm going to use default rosters, because there's such a small amount of like really high overall people that if people draft the way they want, one person's basically going to get them all. So the most snubbed quarterback, I'm going to say Tannehill might be a little bit snubbed. I think Rivers and Tannehill both are snubbed. Tannehill obviously led the team from basically a situation where they wouldn't make the playoffs all the way to the AFC Championship game, but is only an 80. I think he should be at least where Rivers is. And then Rivers, despite having a bad year, his offensive line was a good portion of why he was playing that bad. I think he should be like an 80, maybe 85, 86, possibly. Not saying he's better than... And Watson was definitely snubbed. Now, who do I think is overrated? Brady might be a little bit overrated in this situation. But I'm going to go with, in terms of overrated, Dak Prescott. I think he should go down a couple slots. Not by a lot, like maybe 1 or 2 overall lower. And maybe Jimmy G might be a little bit overrated too. Just because he didn't really have to do much last season. Especially in playoff time. Punter doesn't matter. Middle linebacker. That one's going to be the B1. I'm going to get probably a lot of comments about being wrong. So, the middle linebacker, right off the bat, there's an 8-point difference between Bobby Wags and the next person. So, there's plenty of people who were snubbed here. Jalen Smith was definitely snubbed. Jalen Smith for the Cowboys, he plays pretty damn well, all things considered. He is basically a pretty good middle linebacker. He can be everywhere on the field. He was one of the most sought after middle linebackers in the last Madden game because he had the speed and all that stuff that a lot of other people didn't have. So, for that reason, he's definitely a bit of a snub. Honestly, Mosley, I think, is a little bit too high. He missed all of last season, didn't produce in the handful of games he did play, I think. So, yeah. Okay. Left tackle, we're not going to worry about. Left outside linebacker. I'm not going to do, like I said, I'm going to skip the rest of the linemen just because they are a bit tougher to gauge. Khalil Mack, Von Miller. Okay, start from these guys. Anthony Barr should be ranked higher. He's a pretty good coverage linebacker. Actually, no. Van Der Esch definitely is snubbed. I think he should be like an 86 or an 87. I mean, the man was one of the most, consistent players on a pretty piss-poor Cowboys team in the second half of the season. So, let's see here. And in terms of someone rated too high, like 100% honestly, Kyle Van Noy, I think, should be a little bit lower. I mean, he's a pretty damn good linebacker, but I definitely think that 86 might be just a smidge too high. Left end. This one's going to be definitely something I think I'm going to get a lot of hate for, too. Snubbed for left end is going to be probably Michael Brockers. He's a very good pass rusher, and I do believe he should be ranked a little bit higher.
Alright guys, wanted to wrap this up. I'll meet you at the surface.
And then overrated. There is no overrated player in the right end. I'm going to go with that because I don't really disagree with anyone in the top half of that list. Halfback. Okay, let's see how controversial this one's going to get. So, snubbed. Barkley is definitely snubbed. Barkley was one of the top running backs last year, despite missing games. So, Saquon's definitely in the snubbed category. And I think overrated? Honestly, I love Christian McCaffrey, but he should be a couple overall points lower, like a 98 or 97. But there's not really a too overrated guy up at top. I mean, it's understandable why he's ranked where he is, to be honest. So we're gonna leave that one as is. Free safeties. The D tackle one, which is gonna be next, is gonna be like one of the hardest ones to determine, just because there's a lot of DT talent. Devin McCourty. Justin Simmons is definitely, I would consider a snub for sure. But he's also in the top part of the list still, so I can't really be too mad about it. Minka Fitzpatrick was snubbed a little bit. I think he should be like a 90. He was basically one of the biggest playmakers for the Steelers after they acquired him in a trade from the Dolphins, and I think he single-handedly helped turn around that defense quite a bit in terms of the secondary. Now, overrated, Devin McCourty should be like a 90. He's great, he's old, but he's not really the explosive playmaker he was a couple seasons ago. So, yeah. Okay, DT, and then we have corner, and then we're done with the lists. Don't know why it wasn't letting me tap the thing. Okay, underrated. Let's see. Eddie Goldman's definitely underrated, I think. He should be a couple overall points higher. He was on a pretty stout Chicago defense, so I guess somebody has to be lower rated, but I just wish it wasn't him. He plays pretty damn good, and he's pretty consistent, too, so I think his rating should reflect that a bit better. Linval Joseph as well, I think, could be one. I mean, he was a Viking last year, not a Charger, so people can't say I'm being biased. But I do think he did help a lot with Rundy, and he should be a couple overall points higher, too. I think, in terms of overrated, there's no overrated DT. I'm just gonna. I can't really think. From what I saw, I can't see anyone who's too overrated in the top portion of it. And then let's go with corner and see if there's anyone that is far too overrated or underrated in this category. AJ Boye, I think, is underrated right off the rip. Actually, no, Marcus Peters and AJ Boye both play a lot better than their ratings are in the game at this current point in time. And both of them were pretty big players on their respective teams the last year. And I do think that they'll prove that they are better than their ratings when the season starts. In terms of overrated, honestly, Stephon Gilmore. I get that he won Defensive Player and he had all those picks and stuff, but I can't say in the grand scheme of things he's better than Alexander, Sherman, or Ramsey are in terms of a complete player. So yeah, I think he's definitely the most overrated. Now, before I end this video, I'm going to make this super clear here. The snubbed players aren't necessarily, they're way better than this rating. I just mean they're better than what they gave. By at least a little bit. And then, you know, the most overrated could be just by a couple points. It doesn't even have to be like 10 or anything. So when you get to this point, we watch it again and tell me I'm wrong in any of the ones, but try to be respectful about it. I know it's the internet. People are very incapable of it sometimes. But I'm hoping those who are subbed to me can at least be nice with their opinions. But I'll be starting posting videos every week with predictions and analysis after each week of the NFL season, as well as probably the ones that are just focused on the Chargers like I did last season. Starting on September 9th or 10th, I'll be putting out predictions, and then, you know, the Monday or Tuesday afterwards, once all the games have been played, I'll put out my reviews of what happened. Also, follow my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/kcouch123. I will be live streaming there from now on. I won't be putting much gaming content on this channel unless it's stuff that doesn't get me any viewership on Twitch. And, you know, that way it might get, you know, people might watch it on here instead. So, that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.